As far as the formation of the possessive case is concerned, let's understand some points. The first, with singular nouns, you have to add apostrophe s. For example, you can say Ram's scepter. You can say Ahmed's book. You can say Rahul's school. So if you have a singular noun, just add apostrophe s. You have to add apostrophe s, and that will form a possessive case. And but there are certain words, there are particular words, certain words where we drop letter s. We just write apostrophe. For example, we say conscious sake. We cannot say conscious is with not apostrophe s, just apostrophe. You have to omit s. When there is so hissing sound of s, you do not need to mention s, you just omit s. Conscious sake, goodness sake. So because there is already double s ending at the end of goodness, so you do not need to write apostrophe s. Just put apostrophe and your job is done. It shows possessive case. Similarly, justice's sake. You do not need to say justice with apostrophe s. You can say justice with apostrophe, and that is it. These are some particular words. These are some certain words where is the repetition of this hissing sound of s. So you can drop s. You can just write at the end of the last letter of the word just apostrophe, and your job is done. Okay, second point, with the plural nouns. So for example, generally if we have boy and boys, and you have to show possession, what do you need to do? You have to do that, just put apostrophe with plurals which end with s. All those plural nouns that end with s, you have to put just apostrophe, and your job is done. You do not need to mention apostrophe s. Boys, for example, boys class and boys college. So in the first case, boys class, a singular boy, we have a boy, his class. And in the second, boys is college. So here it is a plural, and it means the college belongs to the boys. So this is, you have to keep this in your mind. आपको अपने जहन में ये बात ज़रूरी रखनी है कि अगर आपके पास एक वर्ड वाहिद है, तो वाहिद के साथ आप अपॉस्ट्रॉफी एस लगा सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आपके पास कोई जमा है, प्लूरल है, और वो एंड होता है एस के साथ, तो देन उस वक्त आपको अपॉस्ट्रॉफी एस लगाने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. आप जस्ट अपॉस्ट्रॉफी डाल दें और आपका काम हो गया. लेकिन अब अगर कोई प्लूरल है जो एंड एस के साथ नहीं होता है, लाइक मैन का मैन है, तो यहाँ पर आप अपॉस्ट्रॉफी एस डालेंगे. विद दोज प्लूरल्स which do not end with s, यहाँ पर आपको apostrophe s लगाने की ज़रूरत है. Okay, let's move towards the third point. Several words in a noun. We have compound nouns, as we have already discussed them in the introduction of nouns. We have compound nouns. For example, we can say the king of Bhutan. For example, so this compound noun, it comprises 1, 2, 3, 4 words, and if you have to show possession, what you have to do? Put apostrophe s at the last part of the noun. For example, यहाँ पर आपने Bhutan के साथ लगाना है. The king of Bhutan's palace, not the kings of Bhutan's palace. No, just if you have several words in a compound noun, then you have to put at the end, फिर आपको जो उस कंपाउंड नाउन का सबसे आखिर में जो वर्ड होगा उसके एंड पे अपॉस्ट्रोफी एस लगाना पड़ेगा. Okay, let's move towards appositive. So, appositive, as we have already discussed nouns in opposition, अगर आपका कोई noun opposition में है तो you have to put apostrophe s in the second part of in the appositive noun. For example, I can say this is the I can say this is Tagore, the poet's home. Okay, so here we know the poet defines, it renames the its antecedent Tagore. These are the same, these to the poet, and Tagore is just one person, and this noun is a position in this noun, so you have to put apostrophe s at the second part. This is Tagore, the poet's home. Okay, so appositive. The fifth point is two nouns are closely connected. When you have two nouns which are closely connected and something belongs to them, something is belonging to them jointly, then what you have to do, for example, we have Ahmed and Kareem. These are two friends, these are two brothers. They possess a bookshop. They both possess a bookshop, and when you have to show their position, what you have to do, put apostrophe s at the second noun. For example, Kareem's bookshop, Ahmed's and Kareem's bookshop. That means this bookshop belongs to both of them, Ahmed and Kareem. Okay, but in next point, two nouns connected but imply separate possession. But if two nouns or more than two nouns are connected by connecting word by conjunction, but each of them has separate possession, then the rule changes. Then what you have to do, for example, Shakespeare's and Milton's poems, say to. That means the poems written by Shakespeare and the poems composed by Milton separately. So this is all about the formation of the possessive case with the noun. So as far as the uses of possessive cases are concerned, let's understand certain points. So first point, possessive case is strictly used for living things only. Although we have exceptions, and we are going to discuss them afterwards, but first you have to remember the possessive case is strictly used for living things. For example, you can say the man's arm. You can say the horse's leg. You cannot say table is leg. You can say the leg of the table. So you have to remember this. Keep this in your mind. तो पहली बात आपने ये याद रखनी है कि जहाँ तक possessive case का सवाल है तो ज़्यादातर ज़्यादा इसका इस्तेमाल जो होता है वो जानदारों के साथ होता है, एनिमेट ऑब्जेक्ट्स के साथ होता है. ओके, लेकिन जैसा मैंने कहा कि एक्सेप्शंस आर ऑलवेज देयर, सो हेंस इट इज ट्रू टू दिस possessive case as well. Second, with personified objects. You know, my dear students, what is personification? If you give a human attribute to non-human entity, you call that entity a personified entity. For example, speech, talking. is the attribute, the main, the emphatic characteristic of human beings. But if I say the trees talk to me, so hence trees are being personified. So when there are certain personified objects, and with those personified objects you can use this possessive case. For example, if I say nature's laws, I know, you know that laws are dealing with human beings, but when the same word, the laws, are attributed to the nature, so this nature becomes personified. So you can say nature's laws. So this way you can use possessive case. Third point, nouns denoting time, space, weight, etc., etc., you can use apostrophe s. If nouns, certain nouns that denote space, that denote weight, that denote time, so that denote length, sometimes you can use apostrophe s. For example, I can say week's holiday. So it is applicable. So if I say day's walk, a walk for a day, complete day, maybe the day maybe of 12 hours or maybe 10 or 11, that depends in which region you are living. So this is how you can use apostrophe s or possessive case. And certain phrases, there are certain special phrases where we use apostrophe s. For example, stone's throw. He is living at stone's throw. That means he is living very near to me. My friend is living very near to me. If I say my friend is living at stone's throw, that means he is living very near to me. Okay, stone's throw, mercy's sake, or sometimes we say conscious sake, like these. In particular phrases, you can use apostrophe s. So, इसी तरह fifth point is you can use this as I told you that certain phrases can be used apostrophe s. They can use apostrophe s. For example, mercy's sake, heart's content, wit's end, stone's throw, etc., etc. And next is if a proper noun comes with a possessive case. This is very important point you have to remember. ये एक ख़ास बात आपने याद रखनी है कि अगर कोई प्रॉपर नाउन आता है जिसके साथ apostrophe s आता हो, लेकिन at the same time that proper noun can be denoting or implying maybe trade, school, college, shop, hospital. For example, what does it mean? इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर आपको फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये कहना है कि मैं बार्बर के शॉप पे था, you have to remember I was at barber's. You do not need to mention shop. जब आप कहेंगे I was at barber's, तो that means okay, that is being बार्बर की दुकान पे थे. तो if you say that I have to take my books from uncle's, you do not need to mention from uncle's home or residence. You can say from uncle's, that means at his residence. You have to go there and you have to take books from there. So similarly, if you say I was at St. Mary's, maybe it is the name of college. For example, you can say I was at St. Mary's. You do not need to mention I was at St. Mary's College. St. Mary's, it shows the place in itself when it is used in possessive case. Similarly, you can say I was at maybe say to St. James, means that if it is a name of a hospital, that means I was St. James Hospital. So you do not need to mention hospital. So these are some particular uses of the possessive case. Now, finally, I would like to conclude this topic, this very session by these sentences. Okay, so I was telling you that I would like to conclude this topic, this session by these sentences. But before that, I would like to tell you, मैं आपसे कहना चाहूँगा कि जनरली जो possessive case है इंग्लिश में, हम ज़्यादातर ये इस्तेमाल करते हैं, मेनली ये इस्तेमाल करते हैं जब आपके पास आप कोई चीज़ possess करते हैं, जब आपके पास कोई चीज़ होती है, when it shows possession. For example, you can say that I have this book, Ram's scepter, Ram's kingdom, all that stuff, etc., etc. But that shows possession. Lekin at the same time, if you say, if you are going to say the defeat of enemy, you can say defeat of the enemy, not enemy's defeat, because generally, particularly, halake, enemy's defeat is also correct in meaning. There is no problem in that, but you have to remember that possessive case is strictly, particularly used to show possession. So it is better, it is most appropriate to say the defeat of the enemy rather than enemy's defeat. And now sometimes using of possessive case also drastically change the meaning of a sentence. For example, I have two sentences on the whiteboard. The principal's reception was overwhelming and the reception of the principal was overwhelming. So the actual the meaning of these two sentences are altogetherly different. For example, in the first sentences where principal is with possessive case, so the principal's reception was overwhelming, that means the reception was done by principal. The way the principal received his staff or students, that was overwhelming, that was spectacular, that was astounding, that was beautiful. So here the principal receives the guests, receives the staff, receives the students, etc., whatever you can imagine. And the second sentence, the reception of the principal was overwhelming. It means when the principal was received at the school or at any particular function, so that means the principal was received by the audience, by the other staff members, by the students. He was received, and that was also overwhelming. So you have to remember how the possessive cases change the meaning of a sentences. I hope that these explanations, short to the point explanations, would have helped you to understand the case very vividly, very clearly. But still, if we are human beings and to err is human, we commit mistakes, we make mistakes, we are full of mistakes. I cannot call myself, and I do not claim that I am a master of language. Rather, I am just like you. I'm a learner of language, and I'm not teaching, I'm sharing my knowledge with you. If it would have been a practical class, I would have learned a lot from you as well. But the thing is, we are living in this transient world, and we learn from birth to death. So from cradle to grave, we learn, and we learn a lot. We all are learners. So even if there might have been some mistakes, I admit those mistakes, but if still you have some doubts, you have some questions, please don't hesitate to drop your questions, to drop your doubts, to drop your suggestions in the comment sections. They will be most welcomed by me. Personally, I like your comments, I like your suggestions, I like your ideas as well. If you point out certain things, I do welcome them, and I accept my loopholes, my shortcomings. I accept them, and because being human, we can commit mistakes. So thank you, stay blessed, stay safe, stay home till next session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.